What are you? Shut the fuck up.
Hello there. You know when you're excited to see an old friend and then they show up to your house wearing an Iron Man suit and start talking about how autism is the next step in human evolution. That is the Predator 2018. What is up, Chocolatiers? Welcome back to Hunted, the Predator Saga, where today we're diving headfirst into the most chaotic and definitely most controversial movie of the franchise. A movie that somehow turns the universe's deadliest hunter into a punchline. And the wildest part is that it really didn't have to be bad. So we've got Shane Black coming back into, the ropes and the rings. He literally acted in the first Predator movie, and he wrote Lethal Weapon. And now here we are, him returning to the franchise to direct this movie. And so fans like myself are very hyped. The studio's marketing was like a rebirth of the series. And so overall, I feel like we're thinking, dark humor, clever dialogue, and a return to that primo macho energy from the 87 original. And instead, we really just got an R-rated Saturday morning cartoon with more decapitations than direction. This film feels like it was written by three people who never really met. And we're all just kind of told, just make it cool. Just make it awesome. And there are some cool stuff in this movie. There's some cool things that happen. But without further ado, let's get into the plot first. So the movie does open up promisingly enough. You have a Predator ship crash landing on Earth. You have a soldier named Quinn McKenna stumbling onto it. And we think, okay, it's a classic setup finna go down. Then that's when things go feral. Quinn mails alien tech to himself, like Amazon, like a return. And the government shows up and we meet the Loonies, a group of ex-soldiers who are all like an R-rated Guardians of the Galaxy spinoff. Every single line of dialogue they say has like 14 cuss words in the sentence. If they, for example, say, hey, we're going to the fridge, they go, we're going to that cock-sucking fridge, get me a Coke. And it's like, okay, it's so much. People don't talk, people don't cuss, or people that do cuss don't talk like this. Now, they also do make the Predator's blood that kind of green slime again, but somehow it's got superpowers because apparently the aliens are upgrading themselves using human DNA. The biggest issue here, I feel like, is the tone. This movie doesn't really know if it wants to be a sci-fi horror, an action comedy, or a weird family drama about a dad mailing alien helmets through USPS. There's a scene where the Predator is tearing people apart in a lab, and you got 5 minutes later, Olivia Munn cracking one-liners like she's in a Marvel post-credit scene. It's really like someone mashed the Nice Guys and AVP together in like Final Cut Pro and hit export, despite not making any changes. And I feel like the Super Predator, 10 feet tall, all CGI, no mystery, is the first time a franchise made the Predator less threatening. It feels like a video game boss that you could beat in like 3 quick time events. And once again, do want to give on the positives though. I do think the design looks cool. It's just, they don't ever do anything with this movie. And I think the cast actually does try. I think Boyd Holbrook's is solid like usual. I think I said his name right. Olivia Munn is great. I think Sterling K. Brown is awesome. But the script just doesn't give them anything to do. They're trapped in a movie that keeps changing its rules. 1 minute it's horror, the next it's slapstick. Then suddenly I feel like we're dealing with Predator dogs that want belly rubs. If you've ever really wondered what tonal dissonance looks like, I feel like it's a Predator movie that ends up with a kid using alien tech to win a science fair. And then comes that ending. Very controversial ending at that. When I rewatched this, I kind of forgot that this even happened. So our heroes discover a pod containing what the first Predator was trying to deliver, and that was humanity's gift for survival. It opens, and it is a Predator killer suit, like a full-blown Iron Man armor that literally says, "That's my new suit, bub." And so, I'm not joking, the Predator franchise ended on a Marvel-style cliffhanger tease for a Predator superhero crossover that never happened, and the franchise kind of just went nowhere until we got Prey. I feel like, we were sitting there kind of into this movie going, wow, what are we doing? And so, yeah, I feel like that really stings. Shane Black had the ingredients for something special, and you can see a lot of that there. Like I said, you do have the characters, you do have somewhat of a story, but we don't get any of that trauma, any of that survival. Instead, we get a movie that tried to appeal to everyone, and I feel like ended up really not satisfying anybody, which is kind of sad, because something like the humor, for example, also could have worked. And I feel like, kind of thinking about it, the lore expansion could have worked, and many other things could have worked, but I feel like they just needed some focus. You couldn't really build tension when every single death scene had punchlines to it, like a Marvel movie. And so with that, Predator 2018, I feel like didn't need to do any of those things to be fearless. I think the Predator 2018 is a cinematic equivalent of kind of like ordering a steak and getting a fruit roll-up. Damn, that was a good line. It's entertaining, sure, but in, just kind of a what just happened kind of way. Thankfully, I do think the next film in this franchise finally understood the assignment, and that is why next up we're going into Prey 2022. It's definitely a stripped down, powerful return to form that remembered what made this series special in the first place. So with that, hit that like, subscribe button for the next hunt. And remember, whether it's in the jungle, the city, or the backyard, if it bleeds, we review it.